We're going to work out where the dream shed's going. Last year we built this garage, but she's not big enough. It's time to build the dream shed. Luce, have you worked out where the shed's going to go yet?
That's not my job, that's your job.
I've worked it out. It's going right about here. What are we thinking? 150 square metres?
Yeah, give or take.
There's no give or take. That's what we're doing. 15 by 10, and we're going to go a 2-metre little overhang, so we get a bit of protection from the weather. Concrete is coming tomorrow to start levelling everything. We do have a slight fall across the site, so he's going to have to cut, fill, compact, get it ready for concrete. Concrete's happening next week, but I've got junk everywhere. We've got the big trailer, the little trailer, the caravan, the timber, pallet of concrete. What are they? Garden beds. All this stuff has to be moved.
We've got a lot of stuff, don't we?
We do have a lot of stuff, but we're going to build somewhere to put all the stuff. That's the purpose of the big shed. Hoist, car restoration station. We're going to have storage for my dream boat.
Are we?
Yeah, we're going to have storage for Otis's car, baby 2 car.
Otis is just
3
doing
restoration projects on the go.
fine. Have you just dropped a massive bomb with the baby number 2?
Maybe. But I've already worked out what car he's getting as his first car. It's going to be 60 years old by the time he gets his license. I better get stuck into moving some stuff. Oh, come on. Before the machines came out, we did do a set out to work out exactly where the shed was going to go. Because I have been planning this for such a long time, I did already have a good idea of where it was going to go, and that had to go into the planning permits. So I worked out that I wanted it to be a decent distance off the house, but I did want it to be in the same plane or line up with the house. So the boys are here from Kelly Civil to start the site cut today. This is a very big project. I have been planning this since we bought the property a number of years ago. We do have a bit of a fall going across this site. It's kind of falling more from corner to corner, and from the corner to corner, it's about a 900mm drop. So we are going to have to cut a significant amount out from close to that water tank and then backfill it out to the front down to the ocean side. This crew was really good. They started early. They got a lot done through day 1. This is only day 2, and we're already getting our rock delivered for our base. So you can see how dry it is as well. We're down to red clay, sort of nice hard base. Everything else, all the topsoil was so dusty. All the grass is dead except for that one strip where my septic drains off. There was a bit of a drought this summer. We don't usually get that affected this close to the coast, but I did have to get a couple of water deliveries, which doesn't normally happen down here. So we might have to fix that with a bigger water tank down the track. The boys were back nice and early for day 3 again, this time with the compactor and a truck with 5,000 litres of water on the back. I was waiting on a water delivery, so unfortunately they did have to bring their own water, but they used the entire 5,000 litres, hosing it down, wetting it out as they were running the compactor back and forth. Then it was straight on to getting the board footings drilled. These were specified at 750 wide by 800 deep. So there's a board footing under every column. Because we have cut down about 900 drop, we do have to sort of reshape where that water tank sits at the moment once it's gone. But a little job for another day. We are in a high wind rated area. We're at the top of the hill. We're near the coast. We're round past Cape Otway. We get a lot of wind. So the whole thing has been engineered for a high wind area. This is basically to stop the whole shed acting as a sail and being lifted up out of the ground. Oh, that's starting to look real good. The view from the shed is probably going to trump the view from the house. How's that house to shed ratio looking? Formwork's done, plastic's down, mesh is in, ready for the concrete boys to turn up. After one of the driest summers on record, it had to start drizzling and be a super dreary start to the day when the concrete boys turn up. We've got a big crew here from Cali Civil today. These guys do a lot of industrial jobs, so I'm sure this will be a walk in the park for them. Pretty happy to leave this one to the professionals. 17 by 10 metre slab, 150 mil thick. That's probably 25 cubes of concrete plus the 12 footings. I'm not even sure how many trucks have been here at this point. They've just been coming and going all morning. And the weather like this is not all bad. It's probably better than it being 40 degrees and super dry. That just means the boys would have to work 3 times as quick. And the concrete's probably going to start going off too quick. So it did stop raining, which is a good thing. It was a little bit wet earlier, but that doesn't matter. The boys are there. They're getting on with it anyway. The boys are just getting that last bit of concrete in, level it out, then the forms will start coming off when it starts to set up a bit, and then we'll get it perfectly smooth when the boys jump on the helicopter. I've got 3 roller doors on this shed and 1 pedestrian door. The boys are cutting in the rebates for where the garage doors will close into. So once they've sort of roughly cut them in, then they'll knock off the forms. The concrete will have enough strength in it by then. They'll be able to squeegee off a bit of the excess water, walk on it with soft shoes on, and start getting a really perfect finish on top. The helicopter's just a troweling machine, get a super smooth finish. We just went as smooth as possible in the shed because I'm not actually 100% sure what I'm going to do with the finished surfaces in there yet, but that's a job that I can work out later. Concrete's all set up. One of the boys came back a few days later and put the relief cuts in it. I'm back on the tools for once, and I did have to pull the security footage for this section because I wasn't filming, I was actually on the tractor. But I've got a very important job to get done at the moment, and that is drainage. Super exciting. All the steel for the shed actually turned up while I was doing this trenching project. We've got all the massive 400mm columns on this truck. We've got all the roof structure. We've got all of the Colorbond steel corrugated cladding, plus the flashings and the gutters. Pulled out the laser and made sure that I had fall running from the west corner to the east corner and then curving around that shed area. Even with the little Kubota, it's hard work moving that much rock. I think I moved a full truckload of drainage rock just for this one big trench. There's an easy 40-50 meters of Aggie pipe in here. And I did go quite deep. I went about 500 deep, deeper in some parts, and then as I got past where the new water tank's going to go, it started getting shallower obviously, but there's going to be plenty of volume in there to hold sort of any amount of rain we could ever see down here. Once I had a good layer of that drainage rock in, and then I got my Aggie pipe in, and then made sure again that it still had fall across the whole run of it, put another layer of that rock on top of it, wrapped it up like a burrito, filled in the hole with more crushed rock, and then started to sort of level out and prep my sort of entrance and driveway sort of section that leads up to the shed. So I put a few more hours into just moving rock. The ground is really orange. It's quite clayey. I'm dreading the moment that we get some rain on this area because it's going to turn into a sticky mess. So the plan is to move as much crushed rock in front of here as possible before the boys turn up to start erecting the shed. They're going to need somewhere to park and walk and not get covered in mud, and then also make the slab a greasy, slippery mess. So trying to keep a clean space and get it all done ahead of time. It'll save a lot of headaches down the track. Things are about to get exciting. These boys did put in some hard days. They were there before the sun came up with the lights on. This is the team from West Vic Sheds based out of Colac, but they've also got an office in Geelong now. So if you're anywhere on the southwest corner of Victoria, definitely hit them up because they're very good at what they do. And they've got a lot of good crews that put these things together. The attention to detail was next level. All the screw lines are straight, great flashing detail. Even on a shed build, they just put in that little extra attention to detail, and it really shows in the finished product, which you will see later. I did design it as kind of a double height shed, so it's 4.8 meters to the gutter. I do want to use this as sort of a multi-purpose space. I have a dedicated office for myself and a dedicated office for Lucy on one side of the shed. So now the boys have got the roof trusses up, they're putting the bracing between them and they're just sort of working from one end to the other. I did design the roof to have a 30-degree pitch, is almost your sort of perfect angle for a solar array for both the shed and the house to sort of power everything, and probably some sort of battery system. So that's kind of a bit of future proofing I was thinking to myself. I do want to use this as sort of a multi-purpose space, storing cars, a tractor, all those things, having a little workshop. But even with this roof built and sitting on the ground and no columns underneath it, you could walk around underneath it. It's that tall, and with the 30-degree pitch, 4.8 to 7.8 to the corner pitch, so there's almost 3 meters in the center of this thing while it's on the ground. It was kind of cool to start walking around underneath this roof structure before it was all finished to kind of get a bit more of an idea of how much space I had to play with. Back for another day of hard work. What an epic sunrise. Time to start getting some insulation on the roof and the roof sheeted. Nothing super special here about the insulation, just your standard sort of shed insulation. It's like a bubble wrapped silver foil 10mm roll that you roll out and then overlap itself across the entire roof. Something you definitely need to decide if you're going to do before you start kicking off the shed build, because the only other option is ripping sheets off to put it on and then putting the sheets back on again. It's not a huge extra cost to do it. When the sheeting or cladding's going on, it's probably the most satisfying section. It feels like it goes on super quick. It goes on much quicker than a lot of the other stages, like erecting the thing or putting the walls up. Sheeting, roofing, cladding, super satisfying parts of the build. Things seem to start changing and happening really quick now. Oof, that view. Love it. It was at this moment that I realized I had designed a really big shed. You might be wondering why we built the roof on the ground and then lifted it up with a crane. The thing's bloody tall. Just cladding the roof up there would have been a challenge. There would have been a lot more scaff, safety, harnesses required. Even for putting the structure up and lifting those sort of trusses up there would have required a crane and a lot more sort of finite detail to get them bolted in. There wouldn't have been the structure between them to hold it together, so it would have been very sketchy anyway. And then just cladding the thing, putting the insulation up there, getting up there to even just to screw off sheets. That's so high, and it's a 30-degree pitch, so it's very steep and slippery, especially when it gets a tiny bit of water on it. So the boys decided they didn't want to get up there. They didn't want the extra hassle of doing it. It was probably quicker, easier and cheaper to book a big crane and lift the thing. And it made for an exciting video. Another day done and dusted, and another epic sunset. This thing is getting insane. I can't wait to start moving in there. Look at that, 8-metre sheets going up with ease, 2 men on the job, 1 scissor lift, no problems. A couple more sheets to go, then they'll jump onto the other end wall. There's a bit more detail to do there. There's the end wall, but we're also going to clad all of the inside of that 2-metre overhang just to make it a bit neater. I don't really want to see any of the structural steel columns and bits and pieces from the outside at least. So we are cladding and flashing around all of that 2-metre overhang up the walls inside the underside of the roof, just to sort of finish it all off. And you know what? This thing went up without a hiccup for the most part, except for a couple of 7s mistaken for 9s in measurements in ordering sheets when sheets turned up slightly the wrong size. That was the extent of the stuff ups that we had. So I'm bloody happy with the crew that came out to do this project. They did a great job. They got it done. So there she is, done and dusted, all buttoned up. That's the shed built. I'm gonna leave it there for this one, but if you've got any questions on the process, the design, anything else, leave it in the comments below. If there's enough interest, I might make another video, but in the next one, maybe we'll jump inside and start having a look around and seeing what we're gonna do with this thing.